8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hey, what's up, fam? Welcome back to this episode of 49 Faithfully. I'm your host, Miriah Lee, and today I'm joined by a very special guest, my friend, my brother, Bashar, 49er Minded. What's up? How you doing?
Hey, how you doing, Miriah? Thank you for having me on.
Yep, of course. Thank you for being here. Chat, what's up? Sorry for the delay. I appreciate you guys all hanging out. JDLR, Bebop, Melissa, John V, Throwback, Bryant, Stevo Supremo. Let's see. Tony. What's up, Tony? Rob D. Rob D Art. Rob, you make art, you draw, you are an artist. Do you have 49ers art? What do you do? Let me know. I've been wondering.
Yeah, I've always wondered myself.
I'm like, does he have 49er stuff that we could be promoting, or what you got?
Maybe he has a Twitter page with all his artwork on it, or an Instagram page. Who knows?
Maybe we follow it and we don't know. Sometimes, people don't have the same names on like Twitter or wherever as they do on YouTube and stuff. So like we get to know somebody by their YouTube name on here, and then they're like, oh, well, we follow us on Twitter. It's like, well, it's a different name. How do I know it's the same person?
Yeah, that's happened to me so many times where it's like certain people in the chats or just whatever 49er fan there is, and all of a sudden I'm following them on Twitter and I didn't even know it.
Yep. Ryan from No Border Sports, what's up? Cinnamon Kiss, how you doing, sis? Let's see, we got everybody. I think Alberto, what's up, Alberto? Good to see you. How about them Niners? What's up? Jess in the house from East Coast Red and
A lot of
Gold.
people here today.
Everybody's ready for some Saturday shenanigans. All right. Good to see everybody. Hope everybody's doing great and having a great weekend. So let's start off with some news that came out today. One of the big questions we've been having up until this point was if we wanted Robbie Gould to sign back or, go younger or whatever. A lot of people were mad at me because I wanted us to draft somebody to replace him. Just in my opinion, like we know he can't make field goals past 50 yards, so when it comes to situations like that, like we just have to kick it back to the other team. We can't even attempt a field goal because we know Robbie can't make it, right? And, like he's old. He's like 40 now. He's been great in the playoffs. He's been solid during the regular season. I just thought it was coming that time. We know that he held out. He didn't even want to be here with the 49ers. He wanted to be in Chicago. 49ers tagged him, kept him here. I feel freaking against his own will. So now when he became a free agent again, he's like, oh no, I'm out of here. I'm going to test the market, right? So Adam Schefter releases a tweet today that says, veteran kicker Robbie Gould said today that as much as he enjoyed his last 6 seasons in San Francisco, he will test free agency later this month and will be kicking elsewhere in 2023. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I forgot what year it was, but last time he was a free agent, I believe he was doing that stupid holdout, and he fell out of favor with a lot of 49er fans, including myself at that point in time. Then we brought him back. It was like, okay, whatever, we forgive you, or whatever it was. And he's been pretty clutch. I mean, we can't deny his body of work. He has. I mean, I believe hasn't missed a field goal in his playoff career, if I'm not mistaken. And he's done a lot of great things, but for the longest time, though, I've wanted a kicker with a much stronger leg. I've been with you, Miriah, on that one. But again, the guy has been really, really consistent. So hopefully whoever we bring in isn't a clunker and he doesn't suck. But it looks like it's time to finally move on. And the guy's like 40 right now. So
yeah.
And we've crossed the 50-yard line so many times in certain games. And it's like you said, we had to punt, or it's either that we don't go for it on fourth down, but maybe if we have that kicker with a stronger leg that we have more confidence in, maybe we would have kicked those field goals rather than punted. So who knows what we do. I don't even know which kickers are really available in this upcoming draft. I haven't really studied the kicker market. It's not something I really do, but I definitely got to check that out and see what's going on.
Brian says, will the 49ers franchise him? I highly doubt they do that again. I think that's probably going to be really like a really tense, like a really shitty relationship if they were to tag him again. Like I don't think
it seems like we never tag any players anymore.
Yeah.
We're like the last team to tag anybody.
Yeah, I highly doubt. Like that would be a huge surprise if they did. Like I really highly doubt that. I think sometimes it's just we can't keep players forever, right? Like sometimes players just run their course. Like like the same thing John Lynch said about Jimmy. Like he's been great for us while he's been here, but it's time to go. It's time to go your separate ways. Like you can't just keep these guys forever. I don't. Player and fans, we fall in love with players, and then it seems like it's so hard to let them go. Like, oh, we could never replace them. Like, how are we going to find somebody that's as clutch as him and as good as him? It's like, well, that's the point of football, to get younger, to try to, and you might just surprise yourself and find somebody better. If you miss, if they get a kicker that sucks, well, then they get another one, right? Like next year, you keep finding a new guy. So like I don't see. Like it's not such a scary thing to go out and get somebody new.
At the end of the day on offense, when it comes down to it, if you're kicking field goals, for the most part, you're probably losing games. So I want to be in the position where we're getting touchdowns more so than anything else. And we're not necessarily in the position where we have to worry about field goals.
Oh, Rob D says the art is part of my alternate personality. I've been meaning to change it on here.
There you go. Okay, there you go. He told us what's going on with his nickname.
Yep. Thank you. Let's see. Yeah, I've been seeing a bunch of talk about the kickers in this draft, so I think, should be okay.
We have a lot of picks, but then I was thinking like, oh, we could use them from all different kinds of other positions, but I guess we have to use one of them on a kicker now. That's pretty much what it's boiling down to right now. So we'll probably do all my mocks
that I've done so far, I've drafted a kicker either with the last pick or second to the last pick. So
yeah, I'd say just do it with the last pick, probably. Who knows?
And then I saw this little thing. We'll wrap up with Robbie real quick. Just a little insert that ESPN had put in there about him says, Gould kicked for San Francisco for each of the previous 6 years. The league's 8th most accurate kicker with 86.5% has made 447 career field goals and still stands as Chicago's all-time leading scorer. That's crazy. And he hasn't even been there for 6 years. The lone blemish in his kicking profile at this point in his career is a relative lack of leg strength to be able to reliably make field goals over 50 yards. He should draw significant interest on the open market. So yeah, I mean, best of luck to him. I hope whatever he's looking for, obviously he's saying, I want to test free agency. So, if he's looking for a team that's going to compete, or he's looking to get one last bag, before his career is over, whatever it is that he's out there looking for, I hope he finds it, because, he's definitely, it's not like he's shitty, like he'll be great for a team. So all the best to him and all his 30 kids.
I know about that part.
Yeah, he does. I think he has a lot of kids. Some other news that was kind of came out right along with that, we'll just go on to that, was Albert Breer. He put out something today on that he expects the 49ers to have significant interest in signing quarterback Baker Mayfield. It says, with quarterback Brock Purdy's surgery delayed, there are doubts. Now, this is the first time we've actually heard this in writing. Normally it's, he'll still be ready by the beginning of the season. Now it says, there are doubts the 49ers will have Purdy back in time for week 1. The 49ers aren't expected to be in the mix for Derek Carr or Aaron Rodgers, but a prove-it deal with Mayfield could be an option given the risks with Purdy and Trey Lance's struggles the last 2 seasons. Mayfield has experience in a run-heavy schemes, leading the Browns' number 3 ranked rushing offense in 2020, and could be a fit for head coach Kyle Shanahan. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm not sure what type of money he'd command. I've definitely been very much against the notion of the 49ers chasing after a quarterback demanding big money. And then you're going to have you're going to have way too many chefs in the kitchen. You got, 2 up and coming quarterbacks, Trey Lance and Purdy. Then you're going to sign this one guy that you're going to pay him all this money that we don't have, So some Niner fans out there want to pay these big time, big name money quarterbacks and bring them in, thinking it's going to be that easy to do so. But a guy like Baker would probably command less money. I don't know what kind of money we're talking about right now in terms of salary, but if you're saying if they're thinking prove-it deal, maybe it won't cost too much. I'd rather go cheaper than a guy like Baker Mayfield. I guess he kind of thinks he can demand a little bit more because he was drafted first overall or whatever. I don't even know what the Rams had picked him up for when they did pick him up off waivers. And but in terms of talent, sure, I think Mayfield's got some talent. A lot of people have ragged on him. I think he would do a lot better in a Kyle Shanahan quarterback-friendly type scheme. I would like him in the mix more so in terms of talent for him and Trey Lance to have a competition, or just for I want Trey Lance to be the quarterback, you could say, or if Brock Purdy were to beat out Lance, I'd be okay with that because at the end of the day, it's just let the best man win, let the best man be the quarterback of our franchise. But I do want Trey Lance to be challenged because I just think that would bring the best out of him. And it would just bring the best out of whatever quarterbacks we have in general. So I kind of don't want some like Joe Schmo, weak ass like Nate Sudfeld type guy sitting behind Lance if that's who we're starting the season with. But and I'm totally with the whole notion of this whole thing with Purdy. Like it's always like whenever we have these quarterback injuries or just injuries in general, it always seems like there's a delay or there's a pushback, and it's not surprising me one bit. I mean, I was thinking in the back of my head, like, watch, I was thinking this a few weeks ago, watch, if Purdy were to be healthy and actually be available to play in the actual game, I'm thinking week 3 or week 4. That's what I was thinking, but other people think otherwise, so who knows?
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think that's an option. Like, I don't think Mayfield's looking to go be the, third, possibly maybe the second backup for part of the year, but then you're going to be the third string backup for the rest of the year. Like, I just don't see that Mayfield's going to be looking to do that. I think he'll have more options than that as well. Yeah,
true. And that's the thing. It's like, if these Niner fans want us to bring, whatever quarterback with a big name or a semi-big name, and how many of those guys are going to walk into a situation, like you said, that they may possibly be QB number 3 at the end of the day? There's very few quarterbacks. We might end up with a guy like Jarrett Stidham or something. Who knows? Which may not be the worst thing. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, that's been my argument the entire time. Like, oh, let's sign like all these big name backups, and it's like, why would they want to go be the third string, somewhere? Like, that just doesn't make sense. I think Stidham would be fine. Like, I think that's, hopefully we're not to the point that we're having to rely on our third string backup again, right? Like, most teams, and we talked about this before, when Jimmy was the starting quarterback and we were always focused on who the backup was going to be, right? Because if Jimmy gets hurt, we need a good backup. And I felt like out of NFL teams, like, we were the most fans that talked about their backup quarterback more than any other fans in the league. Now we're that way with our third string quarterback. Like, oh my God, this has gotten ridiculous, really.
The third string quarterback never answers never answers the conversation with other NFL teams except for ours. Yeah,
exactly. Hey, Peachy, good to see you.
What's up, Peachy? What's up, everybody in the chat? By the way, I want to say what's up to everybody watching. A lot of familiar names in there. So
I hope you're feeling okay. I know you're dealing with some pain and surgery and all that non-fun stuff. So
get well soon.
Take your meds, girl. Take those meds. I saw somebody else join. I had thought. Oh yeah, SG Sports Talk Channel. What's up? Good to see you.
What's up?
And then David McNew in the house. That picture.
MC Niner.
What is that picture?
I don't know. Something from a horror movie or something.
It reminds me of Miss Doubtfire, where he has the cool, like, puts a cool whip on his face, whatever, singing around the house.
It kind of looks like that, yeah. It's too small for me to make out what that picture is, actually. Maybe he can explain in the chat.
Yeah. Good. I have it on my, I have my monitor here is an actual TV. So, like, the writing and the pictures and stuff, like, they don't come up that clear. So, it's hard for me sometimes to make out what it is. But yeah, Ryan, I agree. It's not like they heard John Lynch over talking like, oh, we should get Mayfield, but I mean, that's how most anything that's coming out right now is opinions from sports writers. So
yeah, there's so many opinions. There's so many opinions that fly around the offseason. Like you said, especially with the 49ers. And there's some people who take every rumor that comes out or everything that John and Kyle say as gospel. Like John and Kyle they play the act of politicians. They play the role of politicians when it comes to the press conferences and the media. So not everything they say is going to be 100% true or set in stone. And when these rumors fly around, like, please, guys, please, Niner fans, if you've been a fan of the NFL for this long, you got to know that not everything they say is true. And very few of those rumors actually come into fruition. So,
yeah, true. A tweet, or I guess, well, I had seen it when it was already turned into a tweet, but maybe he posted on Instagram yesterday or the day before, was Jimmy Ward posted a picture of him like with his shoes like down on his feet, and you could see his shoes, and it had the tag location as Houston, Texas. Thoughts on that?
So,
do you think he's there speaking with D'Amico?
He probably is. I mean, they both have a lot of familiarity with each other, and Jimmy Ward has been pretty damn vocal about most likely not sticking around. So, it doesn't surprise me one bit, and that'd be a good fit for him. Probably. I don't know who their safety is in Houston right now. I don't know who their free safety is, but I think Justin Reed still plays for him, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, my bad. Isn't Justin Reed on that? I forgot what team he's on.
He went to Kansas City.
Yeah, he went to the Chiefs. So there you go. Yeah. So Justin Reed won Super Bowl. Okay, got it. But yeah, Jimmy Ward definitely, he's probably demanding a big sack of money, and we have Sam Womack waiting in the wings. So definitely want to see Womack for a whole season. I'm excited to see what he can do with Wilkes as our DC, since Wilkes will help out with the DBs, of course. So yeah, I guess Jimmy Ward's going to go to Houston. Sounds like.
Ty says, "What's up, Ty?" He says, I can literally post that Kyle Shanahan announces himself as QB1 and people will believe it.
Hey, it would probably work. It would fool a few people. Yeah. A few of them will fall for it.
Yeah, it's crazy out there. And especially, I try to support all the content creators, but, it's a slow time. So content creators, 49ers beat writers that have their own channels now and put out content. They're, content creators as well. And then NFL league-wide content creators are putting out content, so it's the slowest time of the year. Everybody's looking for content to put out, and that's what you get. You get a bunch of he said, she said rumors and everything else, because there's nobody that's inside the 49ers organization. There's nobody, that's out here talking. So you just have to go off of what we have.
Yeah, there's very few things to talk about in this time of year, but some people will hear things that we don't hear. So a lot of there may be some truth to it. Mm-hmm. And, organizations and people in the front office can change their mind from time to time. So there could be some truth to certain things that we are hearing. I'm not going to discredit everything that's coming out there. But at the end of the day, there is very little to talk about. So I do commend, and so it's hard for me to do it. There's no way in hell I could go online and stream every single day, because there's just not that much out there for me to talk about. But certain people are just literally going on every day with things to talk about in this off season when there isn't much going on.
Yep. I'm going to go through. We're 49er fans, 49er content creators are lucky this year because there's a lot of 49er content creators there at the combine. They're there interviewing the college players coming out. They're able to ask them if they've spoken with anybody from the 49ers. And then shouts out to all of them, to Brad, to Steph Sanchez, to Jordan Elliott. I know that who else is there? KP is there.
KP, that who's that?
Of Niners.
Kyle Posey.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. And shout out to Steph, because she has been working on what is this thing called?
Another Bosa impersonation?
No, like a Microsoft Excel thing, whatever, worksheet.
Spreadsheet.
And spreadsheet. And so everybody there that she's there working with, they're all putting, who that they've spoken to, and if they, who's met with the 49ers. So there's a list. We're able to see, I'm going to share it with you guys so everybody can see it, but they have it broken down into cornerbacks, defensive backs, DNs, defensive line, linebackers. So we're able to see, look and be able to actually see who the 49ers have an interest at, because you can tell what position groups, that they've met with the most. So like tight end, they've met with a lot. They've met with a lot of wide receivers, obviously a lot of safeties, a lot of defensive line, cornerbacks, a couple sprinkled in, like a couple running backs, a couple quarterbacks, but you can tell, obviously, once you guys look at the list, what they have significant interest in. So we'll kind of go through that a little bit and kind of talk about the numbers, the testing numbers and stuff that a few of those players have gotten, ones that it seems like they have interest in. So shout out to them for having boots on the ground, for being over there working hard and being able to provide us with updated info of what's going on over there. It's been great.
Yeah, I saw you tweet out about that. So I wasn't necessarily sure what you were alluding to, but now it makes more sense when you tweeted that. I saw the names that you put up. So that's cool, man. I'm sure they're having a lot of fun out there, mingling with soon to be drafted players, and possibly mingling with some 49er scouts, and having good conversations with them. But at the end of the day, there's so many players that the 49ers do meet up with that we never end up drafting. Now, sometimes those guys get drafted by their teams, but they get drafted by their teams before we make our pick. And I totally get that part. And it's just all part of the process. So who knows? And there's players that they don't even meet up with.
Yep.
And they end up drafting them anyway. So.
Yep. I just thought it's kind of cool because you can actually see where they have their focus at. Obviously, they're not out there interviewing 60 different quarterbacks, because they don't need a quarterback's not their focus. They're not out there interviewing 30 different running backs, because the running back's not their focus. So it's cool to see. Of course, there's a whole bunch of players they're interviewing that we're not going to get, but at least we can see the position breakdowns of people they are interested in.
Yeah, I got to see this list, because I did a whole bunch of mock drafts for the past few weeks. I did do one in the past few days, actually. I took a break from it, but I want to see these names of people we're even talking to. I wonder if I saw some names of linebackers I didn't recognize, but those were the only names I really saw. I was curious to see the list. If you ever get a chance, you can send it to me by DM if I can't find it myself.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. And I'm about to share it with everybody. We'll kind of go through it real quick, but those that haven't entered your number yet, go ahead and get your numbers in. I know a lot of you have already, but those that have joined that haven't entered your numbers for the giveaway, go ahead and do so. You'll have to scroll all the way up to the beginning of the chat, because that's like where the numbers start. Let's start off with...
Who's that screaming in the background? Is that little kid?
That's the wind coming.
Oh, wow. That's
like
creepy.
75 miles per hour winds right now.
Oh, wow. That's nuts.
Yeah. Let's start off with some love for George Kittle.
George Kittle.
Talking about the 49ers, look to obviously we don't have nobody on the roster right now behind George Kittle. So
yeah, that's a position I totally see as drafting, by the way.
And I've been wanting us to have that legit, like to be able to run 2 tight end sets. Like we haven't been able to do that because we don't have a legit tight end too, right? Like that it seems like Kyle trusts. Dwelly, when he got his opportunity to fill in for Juice or to fill in for Kittle, like he did good, but then we wouldn't ever see him after that. It was like he was a forgotten part of the roster. So hopefully, we can get a legit tight end too that Kyle actually trusts. And I mean, Kittle ain't getting any younger either. So we're going to need, once Kittle, retires or whatever happens.
You never know if Kittle will get injured and,
Exactly.
Yeah. And then we'd be stuck with, freaking Warner as a full-time tight end or something.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely got to improve on that.
And I like Warner, but it doesn't seem like he got very much opportunity either. So I don't know. It's kind of
maybe he just hasn't progressed much as a pass catcher. So, which is why he's not really on the field much other than running downs, or who knows.
Yeah. I'll give you guys a minute to enter your numbers. We'll draw that, and then I'll go ahead and share this screen with you guys, and we'll go through that a little bit. I've been wanting to, once I get done, I'm going to compare some mock drafts to see if they okay, I drafted this guy. Have they spoken to that guy yet? See if I was anywhere in the ballpark with people they're even talking to.
Oh yeah, it's definitely good to compare.
I've only done a couple though.
I've done more than a couple. If I told you how many I've done, you probably laugh. I've done so many I can't even count, because there'll be days where I'll do one, and next thing I know, I'm still sitting at my computer and I literally did 6 in a row. So, and I literally download them and save. You could save the picture of the mock drafts, right? I probably put up about 2 or 3 on Twitter tops, but what's really sitting on my laptop is just endless, JPEG files of mocks that I did. And I could count them up, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was 100 by now. Put it that way.
Dang. Imagine how many you're going to do by the actual draft.
I know. That's why I think I have to take a break. But I noticed one thing that changes is whatever algorithm or draft order of certain players has been changing over the past 2 weeks. So, like, for example, because we start off at the 99th pick, right? And then it's 101, then 102. And at the top of the list, it used to be certain players. And now the players that would show up at the top of the list has completely changed in terms of who's available, that are the highest ranked players in that draft order. So, maybe they hear things that, oh, well, we hear this team's interested in that guy. We hear this team's interested in that guy. So the guys that I'm doing the mocks off of the PFF mock draft site, basically. And, they might be hearing rumors of certain players being, wanted by certain teams. So therefore those things change every week.
Yep. What's up, Damien? Good to see you. Yeah, the Vegas win is crazy because, we're just in a valley. It's just mountains around us. And it's like, I picture it of like a bowl, like we're in the middle of the bowl. So once the wind gets moving around here, it's hella crazy.
It's like that where I live too. We're kind of in a valley and it gets pretty windy, but I don't know about 75-mile-an-hour winds here, but it's been pretty loud and windy where I live. No doubt about it.
Yeah, the weather's been nuts the last freaking couple of weeks.
It's been really cold here, but we've been getting tons of rain where I live. I live a half an hour north of Sacramento, and it's just been really windy, really rainy, a lot of really cold. And they kept saying we might get snow, but we didn't get it. But there's plenty of snow an hour away from me, that's for sure.
Yeah, it snowed here actually twice in the last week and a half. And it doesn't snow in Vegas, so of course not enough to stick. Not enough to stick. Like I can't go out there and build a snowman, of course. But snow here is more than we usually get.
Yeah, like I don't want to have snow in the front yard to play around with, but that's where it ends. I don't want to sit there and have snow on the freaking ground, on the streets when I'm driving or anything like that, where it gets dangerous.
What's up, 187? Ever since I heard, I think it was Ryan Hensley the other day that had said 187 bang bang. If this was anything besides a 49ers chat, I'd be worried because 187 is the code for a drive-by or whatever.
Exactly.
And then he enters the chat and says bang bang. So now that always pops into my head now every time I see his name.
Yeah, there's somebody whose name, like I mentioned, he's known on Facebook. He always gets mad whenever somebody says bang bang Niner gang, and he'll be like, "We're not a gang. It's not a gang. Don't say bang bang Niner gang." I don't know. Some people take offense to it for some reason. It is what it is.
I know people, though, white old men seem to take offense to it.
He's one of those. The guy who got mad.
Yeah. It's like we're not literally saying we're out gangbanging, for the 49ers. Like, come on.
he took it like that. And every time he goes live on his little Facebook streams, he tells everybody.
Steve Supremo says, I have arm fatigue from snowballs.
Oh, damn. He's getting plenty of snow where he lives.
Hey, Robin. I live in Reno, and we have had snow and lots of accidents. Oh, no.
I can only imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, this in Vegas, too. Even when it rains, it's like people in Vegas don't know how to drive when it rains. So it's like, we're not used to this. What's going on? And freaking accidents everywhere. It's crazy. Big Mama says, hey, leave us old men alone.
Well, you said Big Mama, it's Big Papa.
I said
Love
Big
it when
Papa.
you call me Big. Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought it sounded like Big Mama.
Big Mama's house. All right. Let's draw this, and then we'll get into that.
All right. We'll find out who the lucky winner is pretty soon. I hope everybody dropped the number and hope everybody's playing. If you haven't dropped a number yet, drop a number in the chat so you can possibly win this George Kittle card. So
yes. I'm kind of getting caught up on sending giveaways out. So I got Twitter, all the Twitter giveaways sent out. So now I'll get caught up with my YouTube peeps. All right.
Yeah.
Sin got hers in. Anybody else? Let's go.
Doesn't look like that many people drop numbers. Maybe I'm not scrolling up far enough.
Yeah, they had started since we started the chat.
Okay, it looks like it.
71.
Trent Williams.
How about that? How about for that, we'll throw in this Trent Williams card with it.
Oh wow, that was you had that in your back pocket, just as if you knew the winning number. As if
I've been looking at it there in the stack for a while. That's why.
So you're one of the few, well, not just Niner fans, a few sports fans. At least I'm not aware of this. But when I was junior high school and the part of high school, you could say like collecting cards was like the thing back then. But then it seems like it kind of just leveled off, and it's
there's
not
a
big
huge
deal.
No, there's a huge
The market for it's still big.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, and there's a big community for cards as well on Twitter.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, a lot of people.
I've been out of the loop for so long. I just assumed that it wasn't really that big of a deal anymore. So.
People still travel for card shows and everything.
Oh wow! Okay. Because it was really big in like the late '80s. When I first got into it in the early '90s, and I don't know if maybe it's just as big now, if not bigger. Who knows?
Yeah, and it's crazy. Like people drop some money on cards. Like there's the Brock Purdy cards when he first took over and started playing well. His cards were they're up there. They're still crazy amounts. Wow. But that's how like the quarterbacks are like that, especially any quarterback that comes in or that's a rookie, people spend shit ton of money on their cards hoping that they're going to be great,
Be the next guy, yeah.
Yep. I think Bebop takes the win with 69.
Bebop.
Let me double check here as I scroll back through, but I believe that was the closest. Appreciate everybody being patient because the numbers were way at the beginning of the chat. I think, let me see, got 82, 23, 15.
And is that Bebop's picture in his avatar, or is that him, or is that somebody else, or is that a drawing? I never could make out who the avatar was.
I highly doubt that's him. But I don't know who it is. Bebop, congrats, Bebop. Kittle with the extra Trent Williams thrown in.
There you go. Cool, congratulations. Look at you getting all fancy schmancy with your little congratulations animation that you threw in there. I'm pretty sure you did that on Canva. You did that on Canva.com, right? It looks like it's from Canva.com. I could tell because I've seen that little animation effect on there before.
That's where I do most of the stuff from there.
Same here.
Yep, it's a good site. All right, so let me share my screen. I don't know. Is everybody able to see that?
I had to go full screen on my laptop in order to see the names. But I don't have the best eyesight either, but it's kind of small. I think there's a way. I'm pretty sure you can make it bigger if you want, but I can see it now. And I do see a name that I recognize very well. It's wide receiver Jonathan Mingo out of Ole Miss, and I love it. The 49ers got him.
All right, let's stop at this. Start at the beginning so you can see how they have it. Hopefully everybody can see. You can see how they have it broken down. So, some of the DBs, they're listed by cornerback, by safety, and some are just listed as a DB. So you can kind of see. And then if you look over on report type, it says if they met with them at the Senior Bowl or at their, each team has their own bowls, whatever, if the team met with them there. So you'll see some met at the Hula Bowl, met formally at the Combine. So we'll take a look at those because they actually had a sit down, scheduled formal meeting with these players. So just I'll kind of scroll through so you can kind of take a look at how it is. So all these cornerbacks they met with, DBs, then they have it broken down to these just are defensive ends. And then D-line, obviously you see they met with quite a few D-line defensive tackles. I thought this guy was kind of interesting right here. He's a fullback and an edge/edge. That's normally a fullback slash tight end or a fullback / edge. Wow.
Remember Bruce Miller, that one fullback we used to have, and then he got in trouble with the law with that craziness that we did not expect. Anyways, he was actually a defensive end coming out of Appalachian State, I believe. And they kept saying when we drafted him, like, oh, well, the 49ers drafted this defensive lineman, but it sounds like they may want to convert him to fullback. And they were saying, I was like, where would they come up with that idea if he didn't play fullback in college? Now, that literally was the case. He did not play fullback in college. Wow. And they came up with this idea, and it worked. He was good. So, yeah, that definitely reminds me of that scenario.
You can see they met with quite a few linebackers. And, the story was recently told by Ran Carthon when he was talking, the new GM of the Titans, when he was in one of his pressers. He told the story about how Elijah Mitchell was drafted, how they found him. As we know, he was a late round draft pick, but he was somebody that he said the defense was supposed to select a linebacker with that draft pick. And they fell in love with Elijah Mitchell and ended up selecting Elijah Mitchell with that draft pick. So, it shows that obviously they were interested in a linebacker then, and they continued to be. And we know obviously that Aziz probably is not going to be back with us. We've talked about that. So, get some younger linebackers in there. Looks like they've met with quite a few linebackers. They've met with quite a few O-line here. Obviously.
Yeah, I'm curious who the tackles they met up with are. I'd like to glance at this O-line list really quick if you can. Cody Mock's a name that I'm definitely familiar with. Or North Dakota State, Blake Freeland jumps out at me from BYU. I definitely like Mock better than Freeland, but Freeland would be a nice one too. Let's see who else is up there. So Juice Scruggs is a center. I've definitely seen him. And I recognize these names primarily because I did so many damn mock drafts. Scroll up a little bit, see if there's any other O-linemen that I can recognize. Okay. And just curious. Okay, the rest of the names I don't. Okay, Tyler Steen from Alabama. Now he's one that we would probably have to trade up in round 3 to try to get, or maybe even to the second round. I'm just going off of what I see on my mock drafts now. My mock drafts could be completely wrong from what happens in real life. But Tyler Steen from Alabama would be really nice if we got him. So it said we met with him at the Combine and Senior Bowl. Okay, we met with him twice. And Freeland, we met with formally at the Combine. Okay. and Cody Mock we met with at the combine. So yeah, that's very interesting to see that.
They've met with a couple quarterbacks. Obviously, we talked about, if they're going to they need to bring in quarterbacks. We know that a vet or a young guy, maybe both. So they met with a couple, few quarterbacks, Tim DeMorit from Fordham, Fred Payton from Mercer. I thought this was an interesting one. Obviously a name, that's close over there in California. Dorian Thompson Robinson from UCLA. And Jaron Hall from Brigham Young. So
yeah, those names don't really jump out at me. The only guy I barely recognize is the UCLA Thompson Robinson, but I haven't watched those guys or scouted them. And then whenever I did draft any quarterback in the mock drafts, I was doing it like in round 7. So
yeah, same. They met with a few running backs.
Let's see if any of these guys are guys I was interested in. I don't recognize these running backs' names. Like there's one running back that comes to mind that I was looking at a lot in the mock drafts, and he's from Kansas State, Deuce Vaughn. But something tells me that Kyle won't like him because he's a really, really small, tiny guy. But the dude is super explosive. He's got great hands out of the backfield. He just blows by people when he runs the ball, but he's a tiny guy. He's not really going to break any tackles or not going to block anybody. So that's probably why I don't see his name on there in terms of running backs that we've met up with.
Quite a few safeties they met with. Obviously, we know we need to bring in some safeties, and I think that's regardless if Gibson returns or not. We need to bring in somebody because he's only going to return for 1 year, and then we're back to the same problem. Exactly. So it's good to get some, these younger guys in there, let them learn, let them get ready. We know the 49ers like to have their rookies red shirt pretty much, and learn in the wings. So it looks like, they're planning on shooting for a safety if they can get one.
I was hoping one of those safeties would be from USC since we had good luck with Hufanga so far. So, but there is a local guy actually kind of from Cal, Daniel Scott. I have seen his name pop up in a lot of the mock drafts. I didn't watch his film yet, but that's the one name that I am semi-familiar with. I think I drafted him one time in one of my mock drafts. But it says we met with him briefly at the combine. So, yeah it definitely sounds like we're going to draft a safety, and looks like it with all the safeties is met in terms of our situation. It makes a lot of sense.
And I'm going to go back up, guys, and the ones that, they met formally with, we'll kind of go over their testing numbers a little bit. I just wanted to show you guys the list. We'll go through, real quick at glance. But tight ends, obviously, I talked about that earlier. They've met with quite a few tight ends and a lot of formal meetings with the tight ends as well. So, and then you'll see some on here, obviously, like we talked about, teams are meeting with all these kids. Some on here, you'll see they met with all 32 teams, right? So it's not that the 49ers were specific in looking at that specific person because that guy, met with everybody, but it's still added to the list. And from Michigan State, that might be somebody. Never know.
So Sam Laporta's name jumps out at me because I've seen his name showing up pretty high in the mock drafts whenever we start at like 99th pick overall. So to speak, it shows his name lingering around there. He may be drafted before that. He's from Iowa. They might want to call it tight end university. George Kittle went there. Yep. Noah Fant went there. TJ Hawkinson went there. And that's we met crazy. With them. We met with them formally at the combine. Sleeper tight end that I do like. Okay, I do see Cameron Latu's name on there from Alabama. He's all right. I've seen a little bit of him. Zach Kuntz is the guy I really like, though, but from Old Dominion. The only thing about him that's a red flag is that he's not really known to be a blocker, but he looks like he'd be a threat in terms of receiving. He's 6'8", 256 pounds. 256 pounds, that is. He can run the routes. He can get open. When he has the ball in his hands, he can run by people. He'd be a great threat in the end zone with his height, and I'd love it if we got a guy like him. So sure, he's one-dimensional, but I think that dimension will be much better than the guys we've had in the past backing up Kittle.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, if they stick with are they going to stick with this run-heavy philosophy where they're only going to, draft guys that can block as well, or we know that the league seems to be going to more of a pass happy thing, do the 49ers start changing their philosophy? It'll be interesting to see what they do here. Quite a few wide receivers. And I'm not sure by just looking at the list. Once we go through a couple of them, we'll see if, they're slot guys or, where they are. But I had seen one of the guys that's there at the combine had tweeted out that the 49ers seem to be in talks with quite a few slot wide receivers.
Jonathan Mingo is one of my guys that I would love to get. We may possibly be able to get him in the 5th round if we're lucky. He's from Ole Miss. He's actually built a lot like a bigger Deebo Samuel, or you can kind of say he's built like the guy in the Eagles. Why his name slipped in my mind? The guy who used to play for the Titans, a wide receiver, AJ Brown. Yeah, so he pull up his highlights and tell me what you think, because I really like what I see from Jonathan Mingo. If we get him, I think that'd be a really, really nice wide receiver in the mix of the guys that we already have. And another guy from Stanford, Michael Wilson, not as big as Jonathan Mingo. Oh, what's up, Panama Queen?
Hey, Panama.
Yeah, Michael Wilson will be an interesting one if he's available. That what we're picking with any of our 3rd round picks. And obviously the local connection, the Stanford connection with the 49ers and John Lynch, and said that he met with all 32 teams at the Senior Bowl. He's almost like let's say can't miss guy, but he's definitely coveted by all the teams as you see right there.
What's up, Emiliano? Good to see you. Going through to see, because when I'm on the other screen, I can't see the chat. So,
I
what's
can't
up,
see the
Dave?
chat at all. What's up, David? I see you. Yeah, I have my screen completely full screen because I gotta read these names, so I have no idea what's going on in the chat.
Let's see, and then so that's the end of the list with wide receivers.
Anything for D linemen or edges or?
Yeah, the D line was up here.
Okay, I'm curious to see if there's any edges, but it's just D line in general. So Viliami Fehoko Jr. from San Jose State met with at the Shrine Bowl. Watched him a little bit. Picked him a couple times in my mock drafts. There's the edge from Missouri. I wonder if his name's on here. Scroll. Is there any more D linemen that you can scroll down to or D ends?
This one. Isaiah
McGuire. I knew that they had met with him. I had watched a bit of his film. He's a guy that may possibly will be able to help us if we get him in round 3. I wouldn't mind that at all if we drafted him in round 3, actually, with the 99th pick or 101 or 102. I'd definitely be okay with that. Let's see if there's any other names that I recognize on here in terms of edges. Maybe if you scrolled up. Is that the whole list right there? Or you got to scroll down and scroll up a little bit. Am I missing anybody?
There's
so many names. They met with a lot of we're definitely drafting a D lineman and an edge, though. Just look at how many guys we met up with. I don't see any other names that really stand out that I remember, though, unless I see other names.
I'm trying to pull up their numbers here. Let's start with D-line since we're there. Kind of look over. I was watching. I watched them all do their 40s. I watched the defensive backs do their 40-yard dashes. I watched the D-line do theirs. Though, man, there's quite a few D-line. For as big as those guys are, man, they can move.
Yeah, it makes me feel super unathletic. I remember when I tried to run a 40 in high school, I was just like, whoa. And I look at their times, I looked at mine like, wow, what was wrong with me? I was a good player, but I definitely never ran a fast 40.
So one of the DNs you had said was
Isaiah McGuire is one of them.
Oh, okay, where was it?
Yeah. Let's see. I was just wanting to see the rest of the list, rest of the names on there.
Yeah.
Okay. So go up a little bit. Let me see if there's any other names that may have missed all the way to the top where the DNs are. I'm just curious to see if there's anybody I may have missed. The other names I don't recognize, actually. Yeah, there's a lot of names I don't recognize on here, to be honest with you. And I have looked at a lot of guys who may be available at where we're picking. So it's very interesting to see that we may draft one of these guys, and I may have to watch some highlights of these guys in the videos. And some people say like, oh, well, watching highlights doesn't mean anything. You got to watch full games and full film.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're watching, let me ask you this though: when you pull up a highlight reel of a player, and if that 5-minute clip doesn't impress you, why would you waste your time and go watch a whole bunch of game film on him? Because what are the highlights, right? They're that player's best plays. So I'm sorry, I want to be wowed. if I watch a highlight reel, I will watch a highlight reel. And if I'm getting wowed, I'm like, oh wow, look at this, look at that. Hey, that's going to open my eyes, and I am going to scout this player a whole lot more and see what he did. Like, because then you can, from that point on, you can pull up. I can pull up Isaiah McGuire versus Notre Dame when Missouri played Notre Dame, just assuming they played each other, and I can pull up every snap. If I'm able to find the YouTube clip, I can pull up every snap that player played in that game, and then you can look at the whole picture, and then a lot of it will make more sense. But if you pull up a highlight reel and you don't see much there to begin with, why are you going to waste your time? That's how I look at least.
Yeah. Isaiah McGuire, he ran a 4.76 second 40-yard dash. He is 6'4", 268 pounds.
Yeah. So he went to the same school as Aldon Smith did, and it reminded me about Aldon Smith too, and they're about their same height. I think Aldon Smith may have been a little bit lighter when he was drafted, but similar size. And I remember when Aldon Smith got drafted, a friend of mine was like, he's slow as fuck, because he pulled up his 40 time. He was so bad that we had drafted Aldon Smith, and he pulled up his 40 time. And I believe it was like a 4.75 or 4.78 or something like that. It was definitely the one in the 4.7 range. And a lot of thing is like, I think it was Ty Olson that may have been saying this on one of the streams. Oh no, maybe it was Rod Cali. It was Rod Cali, actually, now that I remember. Shout out to him. He was saying that, like, how often does a player actually run 40 yards in a game in a straight line, Yep. And especially if you're a defensive lineman and the edge. Now I get it. It sounds impressive. Like, oh wow, this player just ran a 4.40. Oh my gosh. And he's 280 pounds. But then sometimes you see those guys on the field and they don't do shit. So I mean, it's nice, but at the end of the day, the film to me speaks louder than any 40 time. But those shuttle drills too do make a lot more sense because they're more so in short spurts, you can say. So all that stuff definitely makes sense. So, but then again, measurables are cool. I have nothing against them either. What's up, John V? See you, bro.
He says he'll be picking us both up for kicker tryouts. We might as well throw our hats in the ring.
I made one field goal in high school. I'm going
to be QB4. That's what I'm trying to.
I probably attempted 3 field goals in my practice history as a football player. I was never a kicker. I was a lineman, but I know I made one of them. It may have been 20 yards tops, and it looked like crap. It barely went through. So, yeah, I would definitely don't sign me up.
Let's go up here to some of these ones they met with formally, the DBs. So, Jay Ward.
This
is a name that I've seen out there a lot. That's
all we need is another Jay Ward in our team or another Ward DB, right? But you like this Mekhi Blackman. What do you like about him from USC?
I didn't say I like him. I've just heard his name out there a lot.
Oh, okay. There you go. Another USC guy. So sounds like he's a cornerback, I'm assuming. Met formally at the combine. Let's see if there's anybody I recognize on this list. I'm just curious. So far, I don't see any names I recognize. Oh.
He's 5'11", 178 pounds, 31-inch arm. He ran a 4.47 40-yard dash, so he's fast.
Yeah, and with the talk about the 40 times, they do make a whole lot more sense when it comes to corners and wide receivers and running backs. So those skill position type players, it makes a whole lot more sense. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. I mean, they definitely met with plenty of formerly at the combine. Some of them at the Tropical Bowl. They met with a whole bunch of DBs.
It says that Blackman grew up in the hometown of NFL star Devontae Adams, playing on the same AAU basketball team Adams did just a few years, obviously after. The honorable mention all San Francisco Metro pick as a senior. So I'm guessing he's from.
I think it's from Palo Alto, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, which is still in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
I remember Devontae Adams being from Palo Alto.
He returned to California for his final season, heading to Los Angeles to play for the Trojans, and he garnered third-team AP All-American and first-team All-Conference honors after intercepting 3 passes, breaking up a team-high 12 passes, and posting 66 tackles and 14 starts.
Yeah. LSU has a really long history of putting out good defensive backs, so if he ends up being a good one, it wouldn't surprise me.
It says he's an aggressive man cover cornerback whose physical play brings both passes defensed and penalties. Blackman gives receivers a rough ride for the first 5 yards, but his extended grabbing will be less tolerated by NFL officials.
Yeah. I don't know if Wilkes, with the past teams he's been in, has any input on the draft process. Maybe now more so. He might have a little bit of input because he's a D coordinator now. And I'm only mentioning this because from what I hear, he's a DB guru and he's like a Chris Kosarek of the DBs. So I don't know if he's if he's good at scouting talent, but he might be. If he is, I'd love for them 49ers to let him have some input on some guys that he may like, or some guys that he may want us to talk to. So that's going to be interesting to see if he's going to have his hand in that.
This Jay Ward from LSU, he's 6'1", 188 pounds. He ran a 4.55 40-yard dash. It says that he's a versatile defensive back with a fearless playing mentality. Ward has good size and length for a nickel cornerback, but he lacks a little thickness as a safety who likes to hit. He can be counted on to do his job in run support from the slot and has adequate coverage talent from off-man and zone. So it said he was respected at LSU for his leadership and toughness. Offers versatility at nickel and at safety. We know they like their versatile guys, so
true.
If chat, I'll check if you guys, want me to check anything on anybody that you see, let me know. I'm just kind of going through. We'll do a couple from each. Let's go with the O-line, obviously. Let's go with this Ryan Hayes from Michigan. They met formally with him. Let's see exactly what he's all about. I wish they broke it up so we could see if they were, well, I guess when I look it up, it'll tell us what position he specifically plays. Again, shout out to Steph Sanchez. And if you look into this last box over here, obviously it tells, everybody that's working on this and, putting in their input, because what they did, and this is an awesome idea from them, they all split it up. They all split up and went, like, you take these players, I'll take these players, you take these players, so that they're able to meet with more players, and then they just share their information with each other, which is really awesome.
That's pretty cool. So they had a plan going into it. Yep. It wasn't just like a free-for-all or anything like that. That's cool.
Yeah. I'm not seeing Hayes come up. Let me see. Maybe because they didn't do their 40 yet. I don't know. Let's check another O-line person and see if it comes up. Let's do Duncan. Maybe theirs aren't in here. Yeah, I guess we'll have to skip O-line because it don't look like there's been updated. This guy, let's go to tight ends. We see this one right here says met extensively with the 49ers.
Okay, Jamal Turner from Toledo, huh?
So let's take a look what we got for them. Turner. Tight end. Maybe those position groups haven't gone. But anyways, at least we get to see. That's so what this is that when, pretty much when they interviewed the player, they ask him, oh, did you meet with the 49ers? And they'll say, oh yeah, I met briefly, I met formally. So this guy had said, I met extensively with the 49ers. You'll see on here that some will say, had like this one, good conversation. So the player's saying, like out of all the teams, that he's played with, he remembers, having a good conversation with the 49ers. So I think the wide receivers, let's see, they should be in here because I saw them go.
Talk about 40 times.
Yeah.
I am curious which wide receivers ran the fastest 40s and which DBs did, but if you don't have that information, that's fine.
The wide receivers that ran the fastest time was 4.33, and that's from Trey Palmer out of Nebraska. Let's see, did they meet with him? This is probably going first round. Yeah, these guys.
Yeah.
But man, 4.33, that's quick.
Yep, sure is.
Let's see. Their numbers.
Well, we drafted the 4.3 guy last year, but we didn't use him, so go figure.
Exactly. Jonathan Mingo.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Mingo's a bigger guy, so he's not going to necessarily run the fastest 40.
He's fast, 4.46.
Oh, really? Okay, there you go. That probably means that he goes up further on the draft board then.
He's 6'2", 220 pounds. So, yeah, that's fast for that size for sure.
Yeah, it's very, very similar to A.J. Brown or a bigger Debo when you watch him.
Yeah, it says big, strong slot receiver possessing the mental and physical toughness to outperform his speed limitations. The career production is nothing special, but it's clear he's put time and effort into his craft. He runs crisp, well-paced routes and ramps up his focus when it's time to go get the football. A lack of separation burst and long speed could make for more contested catches, but he has the body type and willingness for that work. Mingo can get tough yards after the catch and is above average blocker. So, man, he sounds like he really fits the 49ers.
Yeah, the blocking part especially.
Yeah. After the catch, blocking, I think that we need that big body, guy. So that's interesting. Let's take a look at this one from Virginia. They met formally with him. Wicks. So I wonder if most of these guys are slots. We'll see. Wicks, he ran a 4.62. He's 6'1", 206 pounds. It says, let's see. He has a set of skills to threaten defenses with big play potential, but he's coming off a disappointing 2022 season. Focus drops have been an issue for him over the last 2 seasons, but they seem to impact his overall confidence in 2022. He lacks attention to detail as a route runner, but it is worth noting that he finds ways to separate with instincts and pure athleticism.
Does Michael Wilson show up on the 40-yard dash list? I was curious.
Wilson, his last name?
Michael Wilson from Stanford.
Let's see. Yep. Michael Wilson has a 4.58. He's 6'2", 213 pounds.
Yeah, I think with him, it's more of the agility then, because he looks really, really good on film and on tape. So it's not, the 40 times can be pretty deceiving.
Yeah. His says energetic wideout who plays the game with excellent urgency and effort. Wilson plays to his top speed at all times, but he needs to become a more efficient route runner to beat NFL coverages. The ball skills are a little below average, but he's a great run blocker and has the potential to become a very good gunner on special teams. Staying healthy will be priority number 1 for Wilson. So, yeah, let me check what's going on with the chat here. O-line from Tennessee. Forgot his name. Was he on here? No. The O-line guys, I don't think they have done their testing, so they're not coming up. Let's see, chat. Ryan says, I could see Miriah being a good kicker, got all that practice kicking ass. I played soccer when I was younger, so for lots of years.
I only played soccer 1 year when I was about, 8 years old? Yeah, so it was fun, but it was just a one-time thing.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Again, shout out to Steph and all the guys that are there, hard at work, giving us up-to-date info. And that list is out there. If you guys go to Steph Sanchez on Twitter, the host of 49K, she has it as her pinned tweet. So it'll be right there, and they're updating it, as they go, as they talk to players. So it's pretty good.
I'll definitely be looking at that. Since it's a pinned tweet, I'll find it easily.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right. So any closing thoughts before we get on out of here?
Not much, but I really appreciate you having me on, and it's been a lot of fun. Might be streaming at 7 p.m. tonight. It's a little iffy now if I'm going to do it or not. So if I do it, I'll just go on my Twitter and you'll see my updates on Twitter. Whenever I drop a show, I put out on Twitter first, more so than anything else. Pretty easy to follow me at 49er Minded on Twitter. So I'm also on Instagram as well, and also on my community tab. If you're subscribed to my channel, you can always see my updates on there as well. And it's always been a lot of fun coming on this show. And say what's up to TL. Been a while since I've seen him on here. I guess he's been a busy man from what I understand, and definitely see him.
He was here Thursday.
Here. Oh, he was? Okay. Gotta check that out. Yeah, It's been awesome being on here. It's been a lot of fun. And you threw that whole spreadsheet thing at me, and I had no idea it even existed. And that's really, that's some great information right there. And for those of you who haven't done any mock drafts yet, go on PFF mock draft site simulator and check it out.
Yeah, I actually found that spreadsheet earlier this morning, and I'm like, dang, this has everything right here. Yeah, he clocked in on Thursday.
and for the record, last off season, I did a lot of mock draft shows on my channel last off season. I'm planning to do some more of this off season. So, okay,
yeah. If for some reason some of you aren't subscribed to Bashar 49er Minded already, his link to his YouTube and to his Twitter are in the description of this video. So please make sure you do so. Go show him some love. He's a great guy, as you see. Chat, I appreciate you guys. Love you all. You guys are the best. We couldn't be here without you guys. So keep being awesome, chat. Bashar, you're one of my faves. I talk to you probably more than most any other content creator. So
really, I had no idea. I feel like you barely talk to me sometimes, so that's good to hear.
Well, John V, he's one of the ones.
But yeah, John V's awesome. I talk to John V.
Because there's just some people that you can talk to about a more wide range of things besides the 49ers. Some people you have that trust to talk about some other crap.
If there's anything funny going on out there in the universe, I'm always sharing it with you or John V or whoever else, because I always feel like it's always good to have a laugh. And if there's any 49ers stuff going on, we always share it with each other. So
yep, that's great. That's a great thing about this community. Most of us, for the most part, I would say 98% of us get along and work together. So, that's good.
Yeah. We didn't drop any F-bombs in this show. Can you believe it? With all the F-bombs that you dropped last season, all the ones I dropped this season, we've been very clean, very family friendly today.
Yep. You got to have that some days. It's nothing to get riled up about right now, but let the 49ers make some crazy moves, and they're definitely coming.
Jimmy, which I do not see happening at all. But that's the one thing that the 1 in a million thing that would happen that would set me off.
That'll be the whole F-bomb show if that happens.
Oh yeah, we're gonna that'd be awesome. Oh, hopefully it doesn't happen.
All right, chat, we're out of here. I'll see you. I don't know what my schedule is going to be like this upcoming week, but once I find out, I'll put it out there and you'll know where to find me. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Everybody have a great weekend. We're out of here.